Hello, everyone. It is now 7 p.m. I'm Darrell Curry.
And I'm Delina Johnson.
And I'm C. Ron Allen.
And a warm welcome to all of you to this week's 60th edition of Community Conversation. We have a great show planned for you tonight. In fact, it is so good that we are extending it by 30 minutes. So if you have plans for later, after the show, you may want to make the necessary calls and adjust your plans accordingly. Hello, young people. The school year is almost behind us. I could not be more excited for that. Mark your calendar for the Secret Millionaires Club Money Competition on Wednesday, June 9th at 6 p.m. There will be some cool prizes and you can earn bragging rights, of course. The competition is for all age groups, so contact 561-665-0151 or info@kopmn.org for your study material. See you there.
Speaking of rewards, if you earned an A or B this school year, mark your calendar for Wednesday, June 16th for the shave at Beard Rally at Blank Barbershop, 704 West Atlantic Avenue. Mr. Ciron challenged all of his students at the beginning of the school year that if they earn an A or B, they could have the joy of cutting his private beard, continuing an annual tradition. Some have been working hard at it. Just an FYI, that is just a small part of the incentive, which will be announced June 16th. Class is scheduled for 6 p.m.
Congratulations to the students at Oxbridge Academy at West Palm Beach for finishing fourth place in the 2020 to 2021 National High School Ethics Bowl competition. I'm feeling a bit away that Atlantic didn't get to take their victory again this year, but I'm still very glad for all the winners. Continuing on for first place, that went to the schools at the Student University High School in Irvine, California. Kent Place School Summit in New Jersey finished in second place, and Hackley School, Tarrytown, New York, snatched the third place billing. Each of the top four Mark Saunders Prize winners were awarded $1,500. Good work, you guys.
Okay, so Delina told you about the party to slash my beard in a few weeks. Well, please, I am ready to get rid of this forest. Please, folks. I am so ready, Mr. W, that, I just can't wait to get back to my innocent baby face and that childhood look. But anyway, remember, guys, if you got an A or a B overall, okay, not three A's, not three B's, and a C, James Lee, but if you earned an A or a B average during these difficult COVID times, you will get a chance to shave my beard. You'll have a trip to one of Disney's water parks and a day at Palm Beach Kids Fitness Festival. Let me get this right. Palm Beach Kids Fitness Festival, where that's a day to remember. You'll have a chance to access almost every sport that you can imagine, except football, basketball, and baseball. That's if those are sports anyway. But anyway, look, guys, so a dear friend of mine, some of you guys know the old William Dames from Palm Beach County. He retired after a 30-year career in law enforcement, and he decided to drag a few of us with him, a few of his friends, boys that is, boys, all boys, out to Las Vegas for a breather. We attended a few seminars on making the transition from law enforcement to the civilian ranks over the last couple of days. And somehow we decided to veer from the cuisine inside the hotel. And lo and behold, we veered and ended up in a place called Los Angeles. Who would have thought that? We got on the highway, and before you know it, I fell asleep, woke up in Los Angeles. But we stopped to eat at a restaurant, and we ran across this brother who had a restaurant in West Palm Beach, Florida. Who would have thunk it? And he's doing so well out here in this city called Hollywood. Not Hollywood, Florida, Hollywood in Los Angeles. So let me have Brother Tony Hyde. Tony Hyde, some of you guys probably remember he had a restaurant down on Northwood in West Palm. He's out here. And I want you guys I want him to say hello to you. Brother Tony, how you doing, man? Get closer to me. Get closer to me. So,
I'm grateful.
great, great. Let me get you on camera here. Let me make sure I got you right here. So, yeah, let's get him on camera here. There he is. Oh, there you go. There you go. Thank you, Neil. Even remotely, we can do this. So, how are things out here, man?
Man, it was a struggle when I first came out, but little by little, everything has been blessed. I've been very fortunate to be able to stay afloat in this boat that had holes all over it. So I managed to patch up all the holes, and we continue to float, and it's all good.
Uh-huh. Now, how long have you been out here?
I've been out here since 2000.
2000.
Yeah.
So you're in your
Almost 20 years.
20 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, a young lady told me earlier that you have become a fixture in this community. What exactly do you do out here these days?
I think the simple fact that I try to keep the food simple and real, like the Jamaican style, the Jamaican flavor, people appreciate that. People appreciate the fact that the food is clean, the food is simple, the food is always flavorful. So, that's what sets that down apart from, the regular restaurants.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what impact has the pandemic have on business?
It had an impact, but basically what I had to do, I had to take whatever they throw at me and create something different. So when I lost like 20% of the sale due to the fact that nobody was sitting down, I decided to get rid of the tables and put in grocery on the shelves. And that brought back some amount of people. And eventually, everybody started walking back in. They're not able to sit down like they used to, but it still allowed them to come in, grab the food, and take it home.
And I see your shelf here, man. Winn-Dixie has nothing over you. Man, you have
I wish
everything.
it was bigger. If it was bigger, I would load it up. But for right now, it's a start. And I'm grateful.
Hey, what do you have to say to your folks back in Northwood?
I'm sure you guys wish I was there, right? So you can enjoy some of my cooking. But hey, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Hey, speaking of cooking, we had some good earlier. Boy, that thing was good. Whatever it was good. Hey, you have a new drink. You have a new drink out. What's the drink called?
It's called Twisted Flower.
Twisted
It's
Flower.
a hibiscus drink made with sorrel, ginger, water, and sugars. Four simple ingredients. Back in Jamaica, we call it sorrel.
Okay.
But we put a twist on it and allow everybody else to enjoy the flavor and call it Twisted Flower.
And Daryl, I'm sure you can relate to that, right?
100%, sir.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's Mr. Tony Hyde, formerly of Northwood, and now at Sat Down Jamaican Grill in Los Angeles on Hollywood. Thank you for being with us, brother. Studio City, Ventura Boulevard. Thank you for being with us. Appreciate it. All right, getting closer to home. Wow, you can hear the pots and pans in the kitchen, but that's all right. That's what happens when you're making money. We have some more good news for you, and as some of you guys who went to the Florida A&M University in Tallahassee would say, some gooder news for you. Some kids ride a bus to school, others may catch a ride with parents, but several students who walk to an elementary school in Delray Beach. To one man has had a special journey in their lives for the past 31 years. And tonight we have an exclusive interview with possibly one of the oldest school crossing guards in South Florida. For more than 3 decades, Herman Lockett has guided school children to safety as they cross the streets on their way to SD Spady and Plumosa elementary schools in the city's northwest neighborhood. His faded orange hat, the sixth one that he has had, in fact, is as recognizable as the blaring red stop sign that he carries through blazing heat, humidity, rain, and an occasional unscheduled early morning frost during the cool weather. At 93, Mr. Lockett possibly is one of the oldest crossing guards in the region. Mr. Lockett, thank you for joining us tonight, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Lockett?
Yes, sir.
Oh, here he is. He's coming in.
He's right with us, sir. Great to have you, Mr. Lockett.
Yes, there he is. Mr. Lockett, how are you, sir?
Doing fine. Thank you, sir.
Good. I'm so happy that you could join us this afternoon. Thank you so much for being with us. Now, you know, sir, you could have been sleeping in each morning. Instead, you wake up and every day you're on your post, making sure that these students get to school safely. Why do you still do this today? What satisfaction do you get from doing this?
Love the children. I care about their safety, and I have great supervisors.
Uh-huh. And you just enjoy doing this, huh?
Yeah, I get out of the house, and I do something
Yeah,
exciting, and I enjoy my job.
that's wonderful, wonderful. Now, when you're not piloting those students across the, say again? Now, Mr. Lockett, when you're not helping those students across the crosswalk or say, cooking for your wife, I heard that you stay busy working in the yard. Why, at your age, at 93, why are you still doing this at 93?
Great way to get exercise. Keep me active.
Exercise, huh?
Yes, sir. And I love it.
That's good. Exercise. That's all right. You know, I applaud you for your work efforts, sir. Certainly do. And I thank you for all that you've done for our young people over the years. Thank you for serving our children, our youth. On a more personal note, you have been married to the same woman for 70 years. What is the secret for staying married that long? Some people can't even stay married for 70 days. What was your secret, or what has been your secret?
I'm blessed. I love God. I honor my wedded vow. I know who the boss is, and I have great family support.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, you can read the full story about Mr. Lockett in today's edition of the Boca Raton Tribune. That's bocaratontribune.com. And you can turn to page 7 or page 6, and you could read the full story. Mr. Lockett, thank you very much for your time, sir,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
enjoy the rest of the evening. Happy anniversary on Sunday.
Thank you. Stop by.
Thank you much. 70 years, Daryl. Isn't that something?
That's true dedication. I love that. I really do.
Wow. 70 years, 31 years. I had a chance to hang out with him a few days ago, actually twice, and just a wonderful guy. The way he interacted with those children in the morning and the parents speak wonders. Um, he
Special
also
someone, sir.
happens to be a great cook. He's a cook at my church too, so you know, speaks volumes about him. Well, since the May 25th death of George Floyd, the public has been calling for massive overhauls of police, with some groups demanding that American cities defund police departments. Many law enforcement agencies embrace a mission to protect and serve. But the debate over police brutality and funding has raised questions about just who these departments are keeping safe. Now, you may know that police departments have a long history of violence and aggression towards many minority communities, including Latino, Muslim, LGBTQ, and blacks. And this creates a deep mistrust of police that has resulted in many minority communities already underusing police departments because they are reluctant to call them for help. That type of conduct does not foster good relations between the police and the public. Now, there are many police agencies that get it right, and one such agency is the Delray Beach Police Department. And there's no doubt anyone who is out and about around town can see officers doing some non traditional things, if you will, around town. On Sundays, there are churches, they assist at the vaccination sites, and they do drive throughs or drive bys for birthdays and other celebrations and observances. Tonight, we have the members of the Delray Beach Police Community Policing Unit with us, and we also have some students from the EJS project as well as the Milagro Center to help create a dialogue. Let me thank each of you for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Great. In the my EJS Milagro folks are here. What about the EJS? Anyone? Neil? Are they here? Okay, until they arrive. There goes Milagro. Right, until my EJS crew arrive, let's get started. Tell you what, in the spirit of getting to know you some more, I'm getting some feedback, Neil. Okay, Milagro, will you turn your microphone off, please, until... Okay, good. Thank you. Will each of you take a moment from the police force? Will you take a moment to give us your name, how long you've been on the force, where did you grow up, and where did you attend college, please? Starting with Sergeant Scott.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Terrence Scott. I've been with the Delray Beach Police Department for it'll be 25 years end of July. I'm originally from Pompano Beach, Florida. I attended Florida A&M University. Shortly after college, I was hired here. So that's my history of being prior to becoming to Delray Beach Police Department.
Sounds good. Well, Siegel, why don't you take it? Take charge over there.
Siegel?
My name's Sean Skinner. I've been with the police department for 6 years now. I'm originally from Bradenton, Florida, and then I moved to Broward and started living in Tamarack for a while after college. I'm a graduate of the Great Bethune-Cookman University, emphasis on Great Bethune-Cookman University. I graduated there with a criminal justice degree, minor in computer science, and then shortly after there, I got hired with Delray.
My name is Brett Gordon. I've been with Delray for about 6-7 years. Originally from Long Island, New York, and I went to FAU, go Owls.
My name is Michelle Geiger. I've been with Delray for 3 years now. I was a police officer in Pennsylvania for 4 years. I went to college at East Stroudsburg University in Pennsylvania, where I majored in sociology with a concentration in criminal justice.
Okay. Who else do we have there? That's it. Okay. Malak. We have someone else. Okay, Milagro crew.
No, we're not mute.
Hello.
Can you turn your camera on, please?
Camera is on.
It's on. Everything is set up perfectly.
Okay, go ahead.
You guys can see us?
Can you just tell us your name and where you go to school? Tell us your name and where you go to school.
Okay, so my name is Liz Marie Bennett. I go to Atlantic High School.
The Atlantic Community High School. Now, Liz, what grade are you in?
I'm in 11th grade, going into senior year.
You say going into senior year. Okay.
Yeah.
And who else do we have from Milagro?
My name is Thompson August. I go to Village Academy, and I'm a senior.
Okay, super. Okay, that's it.
No. Hi everyone.
Okay.
My name is William Joseph, and I also go to Atlantic.
Hi, Valine.
Hi, Daryl. Yeah, I'm also an 11th grader.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dashanice. I go to Atlantic. I am an 11th grader.
Miss Dashnice.
And hi, guys. I'm Anthony, the director of the Team Leadership Program at Monaga Center. Nice to have you. Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Okay, let's start with the officers, if you will. Start with Officer Geiger. What's the most rewarding part of your job? And if I had one wish, it would be, finish that sentence for me, please. The most rewarding part of your job. And if there's one wish you had as it relates to your job and the law enforcement profession, what would it be?
Ooh. So the most rewarding part of my job is what we're doing right now. I love talking to people. I love meeting people. That is by far the best part of what I do. I could go out and talk to people all day long if they would let me. So that is definitely the most rewarding part, getting to actually make relationships with people in the community that I work for. If I had one wish, I wish that I could be a member of this unit for the rest of my career. I know that I can't be in this unit for the rest of my career, but I absolutely love what this unit stands for. And that would actually be my wish. I would love to be on this unit forever.
Now, Officer Geiger, why did you, choose to become a cop?
When I grew up, as I was growing up, I had two uncles that were police officers. They would always come to Thanksgiving dinners and Christmas dinners in their uniforms, and telling us stories about how they help people and the people they got to meet. And I was always kind of just drawn to the heroic part of what they did. So I grew up thinking that I couldn't be a police officer because I was a girl. So I actually went to school to be a teacher at first, and I wasn't happy. I wasn't getting very good grades because I just wasn't doing something I liked. So eventually I just kind of got the strength to stand up to family members who didn't think I would make a good police officer, and kind of switched my roles into criminal justice. And it has been the best decision I've ever made.
Okay. All right, next. Officer Skinner.
Oh, okay. So the most rewarding thing about this job to me is being able to give back. This job puts me in the position to allow me to help people that can't help themselves, and I'm a very people person. And we meet new people every single day. And I love that about this job. It allows us to be very diverse, meet new people that you normally wouldn't even talk to, and learn from them. So that's very rewarding to me. And I guess one wish that I would have is that, every agency, every law enforcement in the nation would have the relationship that we have with the community. I wish every agency could mimic us and have a good, strong relationship with the community, because that helped the profession as a whole. So that would be my one big wish.
Okay.
As far as my answers, the most rewarding, again, we're all people person. That's the people. That's the main reason why we're put in this unit. We always go out, we talk to everyone, we smile, we laugh, we have a good time. So that's a big part of our personality. If I had one wish, I wish everyone could just get along. Even though I might be out of a job that way, I'd still be a lot more friendlier world. And why I went into law enforcement, actually had a K-9 officer as a teacher in college, and he took a liking to me. He set me up with a ride along, and after that, I never looked back.
Okay. Sarge.
Yes, sir. The most rewarding thing, let's see, probably the relationship I've accumulated over my 20-year career. I'm blessed to be able to be in a unit where we specialize in community policing now. But for the majority of my career, we didn't have this type of unit. Well, at least I wasn't a part of them when we did have them back in the day. And I still did little things like coach youth basketball, different mentoring programs. So I've been able to be a part of many different programs where I've met and been a part of a lot of different relationships. And so it's a blessing now, as Michelle mentioned, that we actually have a unit where this is what we do all day, every day. So this, for me, is part of one of the most rewarding things in my career, even surpassing when I was on the SWAT team and when I did narcotics and even different investigations. This by far is the most rewarding thing because I get a chance to meet people when they're not in distress. We get a chance to meet people when things are good, and that keeps things on an even playing field and makes the conversation a lot different versus when you're meeting and talking to people when there's some type of emergency. So for me, it's very rewarding for me now to be able to be in a unit such as this, when we're able to meet people and talk to people and just have conversations. So that's really rewarding for me. What got me into this profession, be honestly, it was by accident. I had no intentions on becoming a cop growing up. Again, I'm from Pompano Beach. I grew up not far away from Ely High School, which is where I went to high school. And we didn't have a very positive relationship in our community with law enforcement. And honestly speaking, I wanted nothing to do with cops. However, upon graduating from FAMU, I was working a low end job. I was a grown man, and the opportunity presented itself. They had a career fair. Delray Beach happened to be there, and I filled out the paperwork. And when it came time for me to graduate, it was either graduate as a grown man and continue this low end type of job, or take a chance and be a part of something great and try law enforcement. And I chose law enforcement, and it's probably the best decision I made in my life. So that's how I got into law enforcement.
Yes, sir. Many of the issues and problems we face now with police and community relations can be attributed to a lack of respect and lack of knowledge. So I guess the question I have for you, maybe Sergeant Scott, is: are officers in your agency, Delray Beach Police Department, are they required to undergo race sensitivity training?
We all have to go through race sensitivity training. It's something that we do annually. I think it's every 2 years. Um, so yes, there's a minimum requirement that we all have to go through. However, Delray Beach, we do things, as someone mentioned earlier, I think that we do things a little bit differently here. We constantly have different trainings whereby we focus on different things that can always enhance our ability to recognize different things, to include race, to include mental health, things of that nature. So Delray Beach, we go above and beyond trying to educate all our officers on different facets of people, to include race, mental health, different stresses, etc.
You said all officers required. So I think this is mandatory for all officers, right?
Yes, it is.
Good. Okay. See, Officer Geiger, what are the feelings among officers right now? And a young, you'll have a chance, if you have any questions, you'll have a chance to ask them first. But these are some of the submitted questions. Let me go through. What are the feeling among your peers right now? Do they feel that this type of training is valuable, or does it provoke further resentment by being cast as a part of the culture of political correctness?
I haven't seen any resentment. I think that at least the people that I talk to, I know most in our department, if not all, feel that knowledge, as you said, is the key to building better relationships. So police train in so many different tactics and defensive tactics and building searches and narcotics, and we're constantly getting knowledge and training. And I think this is just another aspect of our training and our ability to build our repertoire. So I haven't seen any resentment.
Okay.
I think that as a profession, we encourage or we seek out knowledge. So I think this is just one more aspect in our tool belt to add to what we do. And I think it's just imperative that since we deal with so many different types of people, we know how to deal with so many different types of people. And training is a huge aspect in that pursuit.
Okay. Yeah, I was just told that our EJS students will be joining us shortly. But on that note, Officer Skinner, you have a question or two for some of the students. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm sure Liz is going to take the first one.
You want me to ask them?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So, I guess the first question would be, what is your perception of law enforcement like right now?
Okay, so as of right now, my perception on officers are, typically, I just expect officers to be professional. I expect officers to, of course, be personable, but that's not the first thing that one would look for. But the first thing that I would look for is to be professional and to do their job. Simply just enforce, like they're supposed to do. Their enforcement officers, they're supposed to enforce the law that's already in the Constitution and in different cities and counties. So that's my perception now. If our officers actually doing everything that I think they're supposed to, in my community, yes, and I can only speak for my community because I live in my community. Of course, there's a few outliers, but for the most part, yeah, my perception is just they're supposed to do their job, and it's nice if they want to be nice to people that live in the community too.
Perfect response. Thank you so much for that, Liz. Anyone else has any insights to give on that?
I would like to add on to what Liz was saying. She's saying basically that most police officers in different states, it changes as you go to different states and different countries because they have different laws that they have to enforce. And it's sometimes not their fault that they do something that they wouldn't have actually done, but it's the law, so they have to do it. Mm-hmm. So for me, my perception changes from day to day because I watch TVs with police officers and it's different. And there's the news of the George Floyd case with the police brutality and then all the protests and the police brutality. And then there's Delray Beach, which has pretty good police officers. So it's a positive, and then news is negative, so it changes. For me, that's it.
Great, thank you so much. Sergeant, did you want to comment?
Yeah, I want to ask a question, a follow-up question to Miss Liz, or whichever young person would like to respond to this. But she said something about officers doing what they're supposed to do. So my question to her is, in her opinion, or anyone's opinion who's listening, what is it that you believe officers are supposed to do?
Well, an officer, maybe an officer is supposed to uphold the law. They're supposed to make sure they're supposed to make sure that, citizens are not doing what they're not supposed to do. And if they're not, they give them proper punishment. I don't want to say punishment, but they do what they gotta do. You wasn't supposed to park here, so I'm gonna give you a ticket here. Oh, why are you putting your hands on this person? Whatever the appropriate response is, they do that according to the books, and not even just according to the books, but also experience. You know how to, especially if it's your community. That I feel like the response, what a police's job, changes your community because if you out here, somebody usually is straggling around a certain area, you will do your job according to that person. So their job is basically do what they're supposed to do, as in enforce the law, make sure everybody abide the law to maintain like a civil community, and also be personable at the same time. If you know what I'm trying to say.
I do. I do. See, I asked that question in particular because, especially within the last 9 months to a year, there's been a lot of conversations going on. Some conversations have been one-sided. When I say one-sided, I mean like people just posting things on social media, or the cops this, the cops that. They could have, would have this, they could have, would have that. And I just feel like oftentimes there's a miscommunication or disconnect in terms of what people expect us to do and what we actually should do or can do. And so I just wanted to hear what your perception was in terms of what the police officer is supposed to do. Oftentimes we're put in situations wherein there's no win. If we sometimes arrest someone, then someone's going to be upset because they feel like we maybe targeted that person or coulda, woulda let that person go. And if we don't arrest someone, then we're not doing our job because we see people committing crimes and we're not doing nothing about it. So, not to get into a debate, but I just wanted to hear what your understanding or your thought process was in terms of what was our job responsibilities.
Yeah, I think that's true because I'm in. If I'm allowed to respond, am I allowed to say something? Yeah. So basically, I'm in criminal justice at my high school, and I'm not like the other kids in there where they're really passionate about criminal justice. I'm just kind of in the class for the experience, not really because I want to go into that field of my career. But you kind of learn a lot of stuff. Like the police, they kind of have no. Okay, not all of them. Of course, I'm not talking about certain people that do bad things, but for the most time, no matter what the police do, if they choose option A or option B, they're still gonna get the backlash for it, because there's so many different things that can happen, especially in like a heated, maybe like a domestic abuse situation and violent situation. Personally, when I think about it myself, I don't know what I would do. But that's all I would ever do into that field. Because certain decisions you have to make on the spot, and if you do that and you do it wrong, and everybody thinks you're wrong, you're gonna get all the crap for it. So, like, even though I say, "Oh, police job is this," everything isn't really black and white in life at all. It's kind of just, yeah.
Okay.
So to give background to the viewers tonight, I think the primary topic of the conversation is just, conversation and trust with law enforcement. I think that's the biggest thing. And for Liz, earlier you brought up the case with George Floyd and then that whole situation with police. And I think the difficulties in such scenarios is that we can see police involvement within our own communities, and then we can consolidate with some of them. I already feel good energy, so to speak, from the four of you that are on tonight, and that's lovely to see someone that actually cares and has that interest to, be involved with their community. But like Derek Chauvin, there's going to be some that have their slip-ups, and for context, it's situations that can mar that sort of image that the police have. Historically, the fear of the police in African-American communities, so to speak, could be traced back generations to slave patrols that worked with sheriff departments across the South to capture and terrorize runaway slaves. Throughout the years, departments have attempted reforms, such as hiring more minority officers or instating programs like you guys have stated previously. But those efforts have fallen short in some aspects of restoring confidence to Black communities. But what I've loved,
Daryl.
Yes, sir.
Good. You made a very good point there. And Sergeant Scott, I know your agencies have done a lot to ensure that this culture does not exist in your department. What more, if any, what other steps can be done? What else do you think can be done to make sure you're hiring the right people for the right job? And that's for any of you officers, by the way.
You know what? Honestly speaking, we just, as not just Delray, but around the country, we just need to do a better job vetting the guys and gals that we hire. It's kind of, I won't say easy, but it's not too difficult to pass some of the tests. It's not too difficult sometimes to say the right things, but oftentimes we, in terms of before we hire someone, we go out to their neighborhoods and do thorough background checks. We go to their neighborhoods, we go to their schools, We go all those different places where they were when they was young. I remember when I was actually going through the hiring process, I was still in Florida, Tallahassee at Florida A&M. Derek PD was in my neighborhood in Pompano, going door to door, talking to my neighbors, trying to find out what kind of kid I was. Here I am, 23, 24 years old, but they want to know what kind of person I was when I was 17, 18 years old. So I think if not just Delray, but I think if other agencies put more stock into doing better, thorough background checks into the people they're hiring, they can kind of understand the kind of person that they're bringing them to their agencies. But there's no particular test you can take. There's no fear meter you can administer to determine how will someone respond in certain type of emergencies. But I think if you go back to those communities where they're from, you go visit their family, their friends, find out the type of people that they hang out with, checking their social media, things of those nature, you can get a better understanding of the kind of person you are considering bringing them to the force. So that would be one of my strongest suggestions. We have to do as a law enforcement community a better job vetting the people that we're hiring.
Right.
What
And
about social media? Do you guys check their Facebook and other social media pages?
Absolutely. I think I mentioned earlier I was a detective for maybe 5 years, and that's one of the tasks that I had. I was a background investigator for different employees that was trying to become hired. And for the older people in the room, we had MySpace back in the day, and and different types of platforms like that. And so, yes, we definitely check. We check all social media. When you're applying to be a police officer, you have to uh, give all your social media handles that you may have. And if you forget one, we give you an opportunity to correct it and bring it to our attention. But if you try to hide something, we're going to find it. And if we find it and we find out that you were trying to keep something from us, you'll be automatically disqualified. But for the most part, we check social media, we check emails, we check everything we can because, again, we want to do the best job we can to vet the type of officers we're potentially considering hiring.
yes,
Thank you. Was someone going to say something?
yeah, Officer Skinner. So I would like to
Go ahead, man.
piggyback on what Sergeant Scott said, that it even now it goes beyond just before someone gets hired. We are now trying to, even other agencies, we're trying to hold each other accountable. So even after they're hired and we see them do something or say something that's not along with our policies, it's up to us to speak out on that and tell, someone in command staff or someone higher up, that this person, may be a red flag. They're doing something they're not supposed to do. So the vetting process necessarily continues even after someone gets hired because, even before the process, there's some things, like Sergeant Scott said, may go missed. You can't always, cover every basis. So even when someone's on the force, we're still watching. We still watch each other's behavior, and we're accountable to act and say something on behalf of one of our coworkers. So the process continues even after someone gets hired to make sure.
Even after that too, then the next step is progressive discipline and making sure that once people are being held accountable for actions, that people who are continually showing actions that are not desirable for this profession especially are either removed or retrained or handled in a way that is going to either correct the behavior or get rid of the behavior altogether. So we need to do better that way, I think, too. Not necessarily as a department, but as a profession.
Great point, Officer Geiger. Question that was sent in here: Do female feel differently than their male counterparts on their police responsibilities? I guess, do you feel the same way as your male counterparts as it relates to your responsibilities?
So as a female police officer, I feel as though we are looked differently at by both coworkers, peers, and the community. I know there are certain tasks that I've been given, and not just here, but in my profession up north as well, that I'm sure were given to me because I was a female officer. So females are typically looked at as being more emotional and more caring and having that motherly um, instincts. So I think that sometimes we're looked at to take care of the baby on the side of the road on a traffic stop, or we're looked at to come in and kind of talk to people and calm them down in a situation that's highly emotional. But I think instead of getting upset about that or feeling like that's not the right thing, I embrace it. I know that I have certain strengths and weaknesses, and knowing my strengths and weaknesses are important. And so I know that I am good at talking to people and calming situations down. And so I embrace those roles. I can do everything they can do, but I can do some other things too. So I look at that as a positive.
Very well said. Liz and team, Liz and company. I do not see our crew from EJS. I know they were on, but do you have any more questions, Liz? Folks, this is going to be an ongoing conversation. We're going to do this for maybe the next 3 or 4 months. So we have a lot of questions that came in, and I know you have a lot of questions, but we have to move on. But Liz, do you have any more questions?
I have a question.
Dashnis has a question.
Go ahead.
So human beings naturally are pretty biased. This is a question for the police officers. You guys, how much bias do you think you have when you're going into a case or a situation?
Because humans do have bias naturally.
Indeed.
I couldn't hear the question.
Sorry, we can't hear very well.
She said basically that most human beings have like a natural bias. It's kind of, you can't help it, it's subconscious. So like, what kind of biases do you guys feel like you have, basically, or if you have? I think
I have biases towards things or behaviors that I feel are morally unacceptable. So my biases aren't necessarily certain types of people, but more behaviors and actions that I feel are wrong. So there are just certain crimes that I feel are speak more towards moral compass, like sexual assaults, child abuse, things like that. So my biases are more about behaviors and less about people, I think. So I know personally that's how those are some things that I struggle with. Treating people accused of those crimes the same as I would treat them. People accused of other crimes. So I do struggle with that sometimes. Making sure that I'm treating everybody the same, regardless of what they're being accused of, or even how they're behaving.
I agree with that.
Okay, folks, thank you, lady and gentlemen and young people. Thank you for your honesty and your candid responses. We're going to continue this dialogue in the coming months. So one way for us to get to know each other, it's just like courting or dating. One way for you to get to know the other person is to communicate. And I can assure you that this forum.
All right, we can assure you that this forum will be used to habilitate all sorts of conversations in an open manner. Sorry about the disconnection, but it was great to have you all here. Soft spot goes to Liz and Valine. It's great to see the both of you again. And this conversation was extremely productive. I'm just glad that we were all able to convene on this. So thank you all. Hope to see you again soon. Have a great night.
Thanks for having us.
Bye. Thank you, officers.
Take care.
So, in moving on, we're going to put the brakes on this for here and continue on this conversation next month. Again, thank you so much. And with joining Delina now, it is time for Coach Jamel Stewart with his sneak preview with Mr. Ciron on Delray Morning Live. Since many of you will be on the clock and can't watch the show, we'll bring it to you directly right here on Community Conversation. Let's hear more about it for this week's show. Let's see, checking in. Do we have the clip of that? Delray Morning Live.
Okay, no, we do not have. Jamel is not with us today, but let me just explain, if you will, Daryl. We've been having some technical difficulties because we exceeded the limit in the studio, so we got bumped from that. However, I think Jamel is not with us. We bumped him, in lieu of extending our program. So let's go to the welcome our guests and friends. How about that?
No problem. Thank you. Warm welcome to our friends who are joining us in our new extension on KOP Mentor Network's or Boca Raton Tribune's Facebook pages or on YouTube. As usual, shout out to our friends in the Bahamas, Belize, Canada, Jamaica, Japan, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Tobago, the UK, and the US Virgin Islands. Please remember to share community conversation on your social media pages. If you've missed a show, you can find it on Boca Raton Tribune or KOP Mentor Network's Facebook pages. Do us a favor and follow KOPMN on Facebook, please, if you will. Thank you.
Here at KOP, we believe that leadership training prepares youth to manage their time, work in a team setting, set goals, start conversations, facilitate meetings, and make effective presentations, all of which are positive life skills that they will carry into adulthood. Please direct your attention to our friend, Mr. John Maxwell, for our Leadership Minute.
Hi, John Maxwell here. I'm in Orlando with some of our new coaches, hundreds of them behind me, and I have with me 3 of our new coaches from Costa Rica. Now, that's a great country. In fact, we're going into Costa Rica and doing transformation in the country, and so we're very excited about that. And Gonzalo is the one who's going to give me the word for Minute with Maxwell. And welcome. Glad to have you. Glad to have all of you with us. Thanks for being a part of this. What's the word for the day?
Influencing others.
We have 2 words for today: influencing others. I always teach that leadership is influence. In fact, in the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, I talk about the fact that leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. My ability to influence others is my ability to get them to follow me and to lead. And when I talk about leadership being influence, what I want to help people understand is this: the way to influence people is not to try to draw yourself to them, but for you to draw yourself to them. In other words, don't try to bring people my way. If I'm going to influence you, I'm going to come your way. I'm going to get off the mountain and come and find you. I'm going to find common ground where we can talk, understand, ask questions, learn from each other. So if you want to increase your influence, it's not about me, it's not about you, it's about those that you want to reach out and increase your influence with. So I encourage you today, find someone after Minute with Maxwell is over that you're going to add value to so that you can increase your influence and hopefully lead them in a better way. Thanks today for being with us and my Costa Rica coaches on Minute with Maxwell. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Just like how the kids at the Milagro Center putting it, helping others, most important. Tonight's program is produced by Jonaldina Bazoo, a graduating senior at Atlantic Community High School and 6 weeks away from being a member of the Millbury College class of 2025. As usual, the genius behind those videos that you're seeing tonight is our illustrious cinematographer, Neil Sunsky, Neil Noel, a proud product of KOP Mentor Network and the Village Academy. Jasmine Collins, a rising junior at the Florida State University, has been doing a great job as our social media intern. Check out more of our social media pages to see Jasmine's fine work.
And it is time for the moment many of you have been waiting for. Brother John, what's going on, man? This man is more popular around town than I am.
Oh, come on now. Don't
go
do
around
that.
town
Don't do
and
that.
folks are, where Mr. John? How are we going to get to meet Mr. John? I'm telling you, hold up now. What about me? What am I, chopped liver? I'm like, hold up. What's happening, brother, man?
Man, bless, man. Bless. Just bless. That's all I can really say.
Yeah. So we have so much to talk about tonight, John. So South Carolina, the Republican governor in South Carolina, he signed this bill into law last week that sounds like it's from a different century. This dude signed a law that make the state can now kill death row inmates using the the firing squad. Now, tell me more about this, John. I know it may sound harsh, but how were they killing people before?
And so I think that they, well, initially, if the lethal injection drugs are not available, then that's when they're looking to either kill them by the electric chair or kill them by the firing squad. And so apparently that's the only option if the lethal injection drugs are not available. So the lethal injection drugs are not available, then they can either execute by electric chair or firing squad. So that's what they have in South Carolina.
By the way, let me add that South Carolina is one of 4 states, I think it's Mississippi, Oklahoma, and Utah, where that practice is illegal. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Correct. Yep, absolutely.
Yes. Now, moving right along, what is this I'm hearing, brother, about Ellen? Ellen is signing off after 19 seasons?
Yeah. All good things come to an end. So at the end of her 2022, the contract ends in 2022, and so looks like after that, she's going to finish out her contract, and I think that's it.
You know, the way I look at it,
all.
though, is first it was Oprah who reigned as the daytime talk show queen. Then there was Ellen. There's
Yeah.
nothing to stop you, Dina and Daryl and Delina. There's nothing to stop you from picking off where Ellen left. I'm being serious. Okay? So I know Dina and Daryl are getting ready to leave us in a few weeks, but community conversation will continue. Okay? So go ahead and seize that opportunity. Seize it, guys. You know what? John, for the past 60 weeks, these young people have been pouring their hearts into this project, and while we give them feedback after our meeting, in our production meetings, and after each meeting we meet each week, we've never really given them their flowers. We've never applauded them publicly. So, Brother Man, will you share with them your thoughts about the job that they've been doing, please? Take this moment and do so.
Absolutely. So similar to what you said, brother, we do have a chance after each of these
Neil, 1 minute,
shows
John.
to talk.
John, 1 minute. Neil, will you bring Dina and Delina in, please? There's Miss Johnson and Delina. I just want you guys to hear this from the horse's mouth, since I have never been. Y'all say I never tell you how well you guys are doing. Mr. John, do it. Go ahead and do it.
I remember we were using WebEx. I think when we first started, we were using WebEx, and I know Dina didn't like to be on camera, and Daryl was just getting started, and Delina's with us now. So it's been a pleasure seeing you guys' growth. I'm impressed. I'm trying to think back when I was in high school. I was probably just playing sports, not really thinking about the world, thinking about making a difference, having a passion in media, in news, and journalism. And so I applaud you guys. Proud of you guys. It's been a pleasure getting the chance to know you. Although we've interacted a lot more virtually than in person, but I know that you guys will go out and do amazing things. I just don't want you to forget about us. Take some of the things that you've learned from this experience, this process. Like Brother C. Ron said, it's a lab. And so you can take and you have work product that you can show while you're in college of what you've done and the experiences that you have. And keep building, keep growing. As you get older, you'll experience different things. So you'll be able to impart different things that you've learned over the years. You just become older, wiser. You're going to make some mistakes throughout, but learn from those mistakes. continue to grow. And I'm proud of you guys, and I'm glad that that Brother C-Ron and I have a chance to say this publicly for the world to see and to hear. But as always, I'm always around and proud of you guys.
Thank you so much, sir. It means a lot.
Do you have anything to say, Ms. Johnson? Ms. Johnson, do you have anything to say to Mr. John?
Oh, I wanted to say thank you so much. It really means a lot that you said that. You know, I really touched you here, your amazing words, and it will inspire me to continue to do what I'm doing. Thank you.
And let me just say, Mr. John, I am just so proud of you. You're smiling tonight, and you're just so cheerful. But I've watched your growth over the last couple of months, and I'm very, very proud of how you're just blossoming into a fine young lady. Thank you so much. I'm so proud of you. Dina, what do you have to say?
I really want to thank you for really being a part of this and being with us, guiding us through, and really bringing up amazing conversations that we actually need to have. Like, actually, you're the person I look forward to hearing every week, so it means a lot that you said that. And thank you so much, Mr. C-Ron, too, because you are the man. Oh, and thank you, Daryl, for being an inspiration, and Delana for joining us. Like, really keeping, this community. I feel like we have this tiny community together. We keep inspiring each other and being there for each other every week. And, it requires a lot of support, to go through this every Friday.
I think that the best moments, even though these are good, it's even better when we get to meet in person in the rare situations that we're allowed to do. One start memories for Thanksgiving when I had to prance around the place in like a turkey costume. It's silly things like that that just bring the joy and being involved with the community and being a part of this. I'm just happy that I get to contribute with all of you. It's a really nice experience, and I'm going to feel some way about leaving it, but I'll be happy to gain what I've gotten from here. So thank you all. Dang, I don't want to be pessimistic. Okay. With that on a high note, I think just it's been a great reflection of everything, and we'll just take it to the future from here. So thank you all for giving 2 cents and everything, the vulnerability of it. Thank you, Mr. John, for just giving us, that little push that we needed, especially since we're going 30 minutes over. I think it was really nice. Thank you so much. So let us get right into it. So moving forward, it's primary to know that everyone has a story to tell. And as we've heard last week, some stories are definitely worth capturing on paper. Just ensure that they are around long after to impact our lives. One of several excellent pieces that will be in bookstores soon is a well-crafted anthology, Sister to Sister. This is a powerful collection of essays on the ties that bind 16 Black women in our community. These women have been sharing some of their innermost experiences in this journey called life with us on Community Conversations. What a privilege that is. Some stories are moving and painful, others are humorous, which takes a balance in everything. Still, even the bleaker pieces hold lovely, ethereal moments, and the relationships between these women are full and complex. Warmth, love, hilarity, shared moments, all in hopes of ensuring that our youth will have a blueprint by which to guide their lives. With us tonight is Ms. Jumaro Terra, a member of the Palm Beach County chapter of National Coalition for Black Women, and she's also a Florida Certified Victim Services Practitioner with the state law firm. Thank you so much for joining us, Miss. Let's bring her on just to see. All right, Miss Tara, thank you so much for coming on tonight. It is so great. And Miss Circe, thank you so much for contributing. It's perfectly fine with the difficulties. We'll go over forward with however we can. So I want to give you your due congratulations on your soon to be released book, Sister to Sister. Let's start with the background of everything. Why did you decide to be a part of this project?
Well, first of all, thank you all for having me. It's an honor to be here. To answer your question, I made the decision to become a part of this amazing piece of work because it was long overdue for me. I've been working on my own book for quite some time, and I was a little crippled by fear. And so when I was approached by our visionary, Rhonda Turner, to join this project, I took it as an opportunity to learn the things that I did not know about writing a book, having a book published, because if you're not teachable, then there's no need for you to try to do anything, right? And so I took the opportunity to join this project with these other women because I knew that I could learn something, and it was just too great of an opportunity to pass up. I mean, to be able to connect with 16 women that I don't know. I only know one woman on this project. The other 14 women, I do not know. And so I thought it was amazing to be able to connect with Black women in this way. And then I also thought it's an opportunity to destroy the myth that Black women can't work together, because we can work together. And so that was one of the main reasons why I decided to join this amazing project.
Thank you for that. That brings a really nice incentive into everything.
Well, yes, thank you for that. And we're happy that you actually joined this project and you can learn so much from it. So we've heard a lot of stories these past few weeks. What distinguishes your story from the other women that we've heard in the last 2 weeks?
I think what distinguishes all of our stories are the fact that we're all different people. And so we've all had different experiences. I believe that a lot of the women went about telling their story in different ways, which is amazing. For me, the way that I decided to tell my story, like we all each were assigned a chapter, but what I did with my chapter was that I created subtitles for my chapters. So I talk a lot about false narratives, transparency, doing better, what sisterhood actually is. And so I kind of broke my chapter down into different subtitles of different topics that I believe plague Black women today because I experience these things. And I believe that because every Black woman has had an experience with another Black woman, whether it be good or bad. We experience each other every day. And so our experiences, although they are similar, they are different because we're different people. And so that's what I think distinguishes my chapters from everybody else's, because I'm telling it from my perspective.
Lovely. So with that perspective and how everything sort of coincides into the book, there's a powerful theme of sisterhood that the readers will be able to see. How important is sisterhood for you?
Well, sisterhood is very important for me. That's why I decided to be a part of this project. But what I think it means is one of the key things you need in order to really call yourself a true sister to someone is transparency. And I talk about that a lot in my chapter, being transparent with each other. Stop leaving out the part in our testimonies where we fail. Stop faking like we've got it together. We've always had it together. And trying to be the smartest, the best, the most beautiful, the most put together one in the room. Because if I'm hurting, if I need guidance and assistance, I'm not looking for somebody to help me that's never been through anything. Okay. I want somebody that can relate to me. And you cannot be a true sister, a true friend to someone if you're not going to be transparent with them. And so for me, sisterhood means first and foremost being transparent.
Very perfect.
Yeah. And you express an idea of vulnerability, really being truthful, like letting people in and letting people see what you're going through, so you can connect with them on where they are and where they're coming from.
Mhm.
That's something I think is important for us to know. So what do you really hope young people will take away from your story?
Well, I hope a lot of things. I hope they take a lot of things away from my story. But the main thing that I hope that they take away is that, I want them to learn and to embrace the fact that, you don't have to be the person that people have to recover from. Don't be that person. Don't be the monster in the nightmare. Don't be the bad guy in the dream. I want young people to take away from this book that mistakes and choices are different. Mistakes and choices are not the same thing. And I want young people to take away that it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to be transparent, but it's also okay to take care of yourself. And being somebody's friend should not come at the cost of your character. If being friends with someone costs you your peace, it's too expensive. You can't afford that friendship, and it's okay to walk away from that.
100% agree. I love that clarity that you put, that children also should be aware of that. In certain stages of our lives, we just need to find that sense of self. And I think with so far all the people that we've interviewed, that's so clear in all of you that that's the sort of expression that you've come about. So that's also what I want to explore in more detail. Is there a specific part of your story that is a must read, a section that took vulnerability to express into words? What did it for you to know that this is my chapter? What put that stamp for you?
All of my chapters are must read. First of all of my chapters are must read. But I think that what will resonate with young people more in my chapter is the transparency aspect of my chapter, because I talk a lot about how I, at one point in my life, how I was not a good friend.
Mm-hmm.
And how I had to learn how to be a good friend. I talk a lot about how when I was younger, I held people accountable and I made people pay for the actions of others. I would bleed on people that didn't cut me, right? I would expect people that I was friends with to disappoint me. And so what I would do is I would strike first blood, because I had built up a wall. I was not going to be hurt. I wasn't going to be used. I wasn't going to be made a fool of. And what happened, and what I had to learn over the years is that, I had the incorrect definition of what strong was, right? Strong does not mean that you hurt people before they hurt you. Strong for me, what I learned over the years is having the courage to say I'm not okay, and having the courage to say I'm sorry for what I did. I'm sorry that I hurt you. And so I think for young people, although the entire chapter is bomb, I think the transparency portion of it will really resonate with young people, because I talk about my younger self and developing and trying to understand what friendship was, and navigating myself through friendship and sisterhood, throughout, in college, and how I would expect other women to do me dirty or do me wrong. And so I think that is one of the components that I think young people will be able to resonate with a lot of.
Definitely, especially now with the pandemic, communication is a bit difficult. So I would be interested in seeing that as well. Thank you for that.
Oh yes, definitely. And in all of your stories, we can see like the journey of growth. You always, in the courage that you have, really. I just admire that. And you mentioned that what you've learned from your younger self, and you were able to grow from that, really trying to be a better version of yourself. That's what I admire about your story so far. So as a woman who has experienced leadership, who is experienced in leadership, what advice do you have for young girls starting their careers?
Be teachable, remain teachable. Don't think that you know everything, because if you know everything, you wouldn't be developing anything. You would already have it. So remain teachable, be teachable, and don't seek to be the smartest person in the circle. If you're the smartest person in your circle, you need to find another circle, because you need to be learning every day from people that you surround yourself with.
Wow, well said. Definitely.
Finally, Ms. Tara, will you remind us how and where people can find your book?
Okay, so you can visit www.sistertosisterbook.com, or you can order the book directly from me. You can cash at me at $J, capital J, lowercase TERRA, J Tara. Book is $25. I will be autographing, personally signing every book that is purchased from me. But to order the book, you can visit www.sistertosisterbook.com. I just encourage women. I encourage young girls. I encourage men to buy this book, so you all can figure out, like, what's going on with your woman. Why is she behaving the way that she's behaving? It could be that she has some unresolved issues with women that she's carried into a relationship with you, and that she hasn't resolved yet. So I encourage everyone across the board, across the spectrum, however you identify, to purchase this book. I promise you, it'll bless your whole life.
And that's it. Well,
no doubt, because really, the journey that you guys are sharing, your experiences with us, we can all learn from it, and from all your stories. You get 16, so
yeah,
it's good.
Yeah, it's an amazing piece of work. It's an amazing piece of work.
Thank you so much for sharing your stories. For putting it out there so we can learn from it. Because I know that there are a lot of people who will be able to connect with your stories with your story on transparency. Because sometimes we're afraid, to show our weaknesses as we sometimes see them, and really putting your story out there will allow us to embrace ourselves truly. So thank you so much for doing it.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much. It was an honor to be here.
it was a pleasure. Thank you. So, ending on that high note, it will about do it for this week's edition of Community Conversation. We hope that you've learned something tonight that will make a significant impact on your life for this year. Young people, there is no greater investment that you can make on a Friday night than being with like-minded peeps on Community Conversation. Thank you.
Couldn't agree more, Daryl. And we want to thank all of our guests for enlightening us tonight. Amazing guests we had tonight. To our sponsors for keeping us going, and a big sincere shout out to the Boca Raton Tribune for simulcasting us on Facebook and on YouTube.
So I question you, Dina, who will be our featured guest for next week?
Well, Daryl, I don't know if you know, but we'll hear from two more of these 16 women, Miss Rosa White and Miss Nefertari McGriff, who also chronicled their life stories in the book. So it's about to be an amazing show. So we're looking forward to it.
That I can bet. Can't wait. So as we wrap up for tonight's session, we leave you with this message.
A mask can say a lot. about the person who wears it. But even more about the person who doesn't.
And remember, on that note, the elected leaders for Florida may have lifted the mask requirements, but as of 3 days ago, the CDC says everyone vaccinated or unvaccinated should continue to wear a mask in certain places. Speaking because I'm a bit loony, even though I've gotten my first dose of the Pfizer vaccine 2 weeks ago, I'm still going to continue to wear a mask just out of sheer responsibility on that aspect. You know, I don't want to risk anything, especially since the girl was just cited to contract the virus, even though she got vaccinated. So keep an eye on that. Masks are still required on public transportation, buses, trains, and planes, and in other settings such as hospitals, prisons, and homeless shelters. So do your due part in being a steward, be responsible, be careful, and good night. Thank you again for joining us.
Good night. Be safe. Enjoy your weekend.
Information. If it exists in writing, we print it. If it exists online, we update it. If it exists on mobile, we notify. If it exists in video, we show it. If it exists in audio, we play it. In the past, the news had to wait for a paper to print for it to happen. Today, news happens in real time. It's analyzed, edited, and published immediately by us, your neighbors, and of course, you. Wherever you are, you write, edit, give opinions, share photos, and make the news happen. This is why a paper needs to be on print, on screen, and on your phone. Wherever you are, your news has its pulse in the community. The Boca Raton Tribune. We are much more than just a newspaper. We are your closest neighbor.